Hey friends, welcome back to Rita Talks. I'm Rita, and on this YouTube channel, I just share some of the thoughts, ideas, and basically sources of inspiration that I got throughout the day, or depending on the day, my mood, or like a bit of frustration and stuff. But yeah, uh, welcome to Rita Talks. And in this video, I just want to talk about uh, sources of inspiration and basically not specifically sources of inspiration, but today I was like listening to this podcast episode between Tim Ferriss and this guy who's in venture. I don't know if he's. I think he's uh, like a uh, pretty successful investor. Let me try and find you his name. Michael Mauboussin, and absolutely amazing podcast. I was so inspired by this podcast because basically it just exposes you to some ideas that like are completely like at least the ideas that they were talking about in the podcast. I've heard about here and there. I think also on the Tim Ferriss podcast. Uh, like these ideas were mentioned by some other investor that's friends uh, with Michael Mauboussin, and basically they were teasing this episode for a bit. Anyway, the main idea that I took away from this, which was absolutely like mind blowing, is this idea of having an inside view versus having an outside view. And this is something that Michael Mauboussin also talks about in his book, Think Twice. And this book is absolutely amazing. It's full of gems. I actually started listening to it and reading it, I think maybe yesterday and today morning. Anyway, this morning I listened to it for like an hour and a half. It was so freaking good. Like I was just highlighting it so much. That's how much I enjoyed it. Uh, but yeah, like I love these ideas. Like hearing from these people that are exploring some really interesting ideas, and that inspires me and shows me how expansive the world is and how many possibilities there are out there. And it's just so inspiring to hear from these people. And I've like from listening to the podcast and also reading the book, I've had quite a few book recommendations, so I just like kept adding them to my want to my wish list on Audible. I mean, if they're available on Audible. And I can't wait. I really can't wait to dig into all of these books. Obviously, I have like exponentially more books than I could possibly, you know, listen to slash read uh, in I don't know my lifetime. No, not maybe not my lifetime, but at least this year. It's like I have so many books on my to read list, but it's good to like look through all of these books and like try and find some inspiration about my next book to read slash listen to. And yeah, I also listened to Naval Ravikant's podcast with who's this guy? David Deutsch. And it was also an interesting podcast episode. To be honest, I did not pay too much attention because I was a bit distracted. I was like putting together this mini basketball hoop that I set up on my door just to be able to shoot at it from my desk when I'm waiting for something to execute on at work or something like that, or just like to introduce some playfulness into my day-to-day life, because I think that has been missing a lot from my life since I've moved to France, because basically I'm not playing ping pong or basketball, and I really miss uh, like just being able to do something that's separate. I love playing with the basketballs. I used to collect different kinds of balls, like mini basketballs, mini golf balls, different kind of stuff. But yeah, it just feels nice to be able to bring that playfulness again in my life. Obviously, if I could, I would have a ping pong table in my living room, but my living room, at least my apartment is not that big. It's like less than 50 square meters. So that's not really possible in the foreseeable future, at least. But I'm trying to find small ways to bring some playfulness back into my life, just to try to have some fun and not be so serious all the time. And it does help disconnect a bit from the seriousness of everyday life, like when you're looking at basketballs in hanging around your bedroom. Like from your desk, you can see the basketball, and this is quite cool. I super love it. I quite enjoy it. But yeah, just super interesting like insights today. Like I love, you know, I love these kind of podcasts or like this kind of content that basically introduces me to ideas that I wouldn't have come across otherwise, because it's pretty easy to get stuck uh, in your own idea bubble. So only listening to the same people, the same podcast, the same etc. And it's super helpful to, at least on this podcast, have like references that come from different, like of people that come from very different backgrounds. And I guess that's the thing that I like the most about podcasts, is that they're less dense than just audiobooks or normal books. And basically they allow, like they're they're less formal, so the conversation is more easy, and you don't have to be as focused as when you're actually listening to a book, because you think that you are gonna miss a like an important idea. You're just listening to two people have a conversation, and it's quite enjoyable. I really enjoy it, and it's just something that I like to do when I don't have the brain power to start like basically actively taking in information. I do it more of a passive way, or like an entertaining way to do it. Like I do it when I'm on a walk or something like that, or at the gym doing some rowing. But yeah, this is honestly one of my favorite things about podcasts, and I'm so grateful that they exist. Is that you get to learn about so many different things, and get inspired, and just find new ideas when you think, like when your uh, mind feels like it's a bit too stuck, or not even when it feels like it's a bit stuck, like you don't actually realize it when you're in that deep. It's like, okay, you don't actually know that you're in a deep, that you need some inspiration. It's like you're just feeling bad, or not as well as uh, you would ideally feel. And yeah, I just find that this is a good way. Like actually, that's when you realize, when I listen to this kind of stuff, that's when I realize, yeah, I really needed this. This has helped me a lot, like change a bit of my mood and like mindset and things like that. So yeah, I guess these things are super important to me, and that's why I mean the main reason that I do this kind of stuff is not to that I force myself to do it. I really try to listen to my inner voice, and like try to determine whether something is right for me in the specific moment. And sometimes you know, sometimes I don't feel like listening to a book. Uh, Sometimes I don't feel like listening to a podcast. I just want to listen to music and basically watch some movies on Netflix. Every day is different. And I hope that by now you can see it through my channel, that there are lots of ups and downs, and that's that's something that I'm learning to embrace. And yeah, that's uh, that's just what has been on my mind basically. But I love this idea that um, uh, this guy, well, I only remember his last name, Mobusa, uh, uh, basically talks about inside view versus outside view, and basically I absolutely love anything that has to do with behavioral stuff. Like one of my absolute favorite books is Nudge by Richard Taylor, and I think it was Cass Sunstein. So good. I love this kind of books, like psychology books that basically make you aware of stuff that you did not know about yourself, and like basically allow you to learn more about yourself as a person, and like uh, the people around you, because we all think that we're in control, but the truth is we're not. And the sooner we realize that, the better we'll be able to deal with it, or at least minimize the downsides of not being in control, and try to orient our lives in a way that we make the best out of the situation, which is the human condition, or like human situation that we're in. But yeah, I just love these psychology books. I just find them so interesting. Sometimes they're a bit dense, to be quite frank, but these are not books that I listen to every day. Uh, these are books that I listen to here and there, and they completely change my perspective on life and make me super helpful. Like sometimes they're a bit hard to get through because they're so dense and full with information, but it's okay. Like as with everything in life, the goal is not to do every single thing, like 1 minute of everything every day. The goal is to lean into the areas that you think are interesting in a specific moment, and trust that things will work out, because you know, uh, your whole life is an oscillating, I don't know, wave or something like that. And sometimes you feel like doing one thing, and you just have to learn to follow uh, that intuition or desire. That's the thing that you need to do. Like because it's easy to say, okay, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z every single day for the rest of my life. Yay! Uh, every hardcore self-help book out there. Oh my God, you have to force yourself power, self-discipline, etc. Sure, but in reality, I think, at least I do. I think we do much better, or at least I do, as I just said, when we follow a bit of, um, like, we allow ourselves to follow what we think is really interesting in that specific moment, and not try to force our interests. And this is something that I've suffered with. Like I've like completely struggled with for most of my life, is that I would try to force myself to do stuff when what I really needed was to do something else. And I was not able to let go for a moment, because letting go for a moment is absolutely necessary so that you can come back 100% in, and basically be ready to take on any hard problems that you have. And in order for that, uh, you know, uh, basically letting go for a moment to be effective, like you truly need to believe that you're letting, like you could possibly let go forever, and like make peace with that. And that's honestly one of the hardest things to make peace with, like just accepting that you might uh, not enjoy something, and like not get back to doing something, and that's okay, because we always try to micromanage ourselves, and basically micromanage ourselves into doing the things that we think we should be doing, right? But the truth is, I think we should more follow. I mean, that's something that I'm learning to find a balance with, of course. Uh, but start to listen to our inner voice, and like leave some room for it to express itself, and basically build our instinct and follow through with them. And basically, when you feel like, okay, this time I really don't want to work on this thing, then follow your instinct and basically work on, or like do whatever it is that you truly in your heart feel will help you at that specific moment. And that this does not mean like, slack off, because sometimes we say to ourselves, okay, I don't feel like doing this, but the truth is we're just procrastinating. So there is of course a fine line between that, and you need to train yourself to basically be able to determine that fine line, because there are no specific rules. And it's just like, basically you need to be honest with yourself about when you are feeling in the mood of doing something else, or if you're just procrastinating because you're running away from some bad feelings or things like that. So there is obviously a fine line between that, and if you spend all day watching Netflix, I think it's not the behavior that's the issue. If that's truly what you need, then just do it, because it will help you bounce back. I used to do this in like my first 2 years of school. I was in this really intense program in France, and basically I would be so stressed out that on the weekend, like all of the other students were studying 100% or on the weekend super organized and stuff, but I would like just need to completely shut off and go into like do some like escapisms, watch I don't know how many TV series I watched when I was in those 2 years, but basically peak procrastination, just going around, not doing anything, spending the whole weekend in bed, just watching some series. And sometimes that helped, but sometimes I just used to do it compulsively, because I had trained myself to believe that that's the thing to do to help me out. But in those times, actually, I think what would have helped me was to study. So it's just that you have to build this trust relationship with yourself, and that's really what I'm trying to do. Just trying to be completely honest with myself, and not too hard on myself when there are all of these supposed tools that come into play, and then not so loose that I will let my basically capriciousness like prevent me from actually doing the work that I feel like I need to be doing. And sometimes working is, I think Grace Beverly talks really like, basically she talks about this in her book, Working Hard slash hardly working. And there's always a fine line, I think, between self-care and all of that stuff. Sometimes it's really what you need, but sometimes you're just babying yourself, or being too not being honest with yourself about what you really need, and just default into the traditional forms of self-care out of compulsion rather than out of true need for that. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. I thought I was gonna close this video maybe 9 minutes ago, but I ended up rambling, and it's okay, because on this channel it's okay to ramble, and I'm allowed to ramble. So yeah, thanks for sticking with me through the end. You can click here if you want to see my previous video on this channel, and you can click here to watch my latest video on this channel. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!